The Holy Gospel is written in the 10th chapter of St. Matthew, beginning at the 24th verse. Jesus said to the 12, "A disciple is not above his teacher, nor a slave above the master. It is enough for the disciple to be like the teacher, and the slave like the master. If they have called the master of the house Beelzebub, how much more will they malign those of his household? So have no fear of them, for nothing is covered up that will not be uncovered, and nothing secret that will not become known. What I say to you in the dark, tell it in the light, and what you hear whispered, proclaim from the rooftops. Do not fear those who kill the body, but cannot kill the soul. Rather fear him who can destroy both the soul and the body in hell. Are not 2 sparrows sold for a penny? Yet not one of them will fall to the ground apart from your Father. And even the hairs of your head are numbered and all counted. So do not be afraid, you are of much more value than many sparrows. Everyone, therefore, who acknowledges me before others, I will acknowledge before my Father in heaven. But whoever denies me before others, I also will deny before my Father in heaven. Do not think that I have come to bring peace to the earth. I have not come to bring peace, but a sword. For I have come to set a man against his father, and a daughter against her mother, and daughters-in-law against her mothers-in-law. And one's foes will be members of one's own household. Whoever loves his father and mother more than me is not worthy of me, and whoever loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And whoever does not take up his cross and follow me is not worthy of me. Those who find their life will lose it, and those who lose their life will find it." Here ends the gospel for the day. Please be seated. The text for the last 2 weeks, this week, and for next week, are all texts that deal with Jesus telling his apostles what to do when he leaves. The last 2 dealt with him after the crucifixion, talking about him leaving them, filling them with the Spirit, and sending them off. The text today is an earlier part of the ministry where he begins to send them off and do things on their own to proclaim the message that he is proclaiming. It is somewhat repetitive, and sometimes the language is used and the illustrations are a little puzzling. Our gospel text today is a little puzzling. So I wanted to see if I could find some writing that would be very similar, that would communicate the same message, but communicate it in a more modern text, one that was easier to understand. So what better place to go than a children's book? Well, it's a children's book, but it really isn't. And if I start to read it, you probably will guess where it came from. The book is called "Oh, the Places You'll Go." And it says, "Congratulations," and you can take this today for yourself. Congratulations, this is your day. You're off to great places. You're off and away. With brains in your head and feet in your shoes, you can steer yourself any direction you choose. You're on your own, and you know what you know. And you are the ones who will decide where to go. You look up and down streets, look them up with care. And some of you will say, "I choose not to go there." With a head full of brains and shoes full of feet, you're too smart to go down a not so good street. This was written by who? Dr. Seuss. It was written just on his birthday 2 years before he died. It was a book, it was his last book. One in where he tried to communicate to his children and grandchildren a bit of advice about life. Sending them out. You're on your own. Just after he died, his book, Oh, the Places You'll Go, was used as a text for a graduation service at the University of Chicago. And since that time, it has been used time and time again at graduation exercise. It's a powerful message. Whether you're graduating from high school or college or setting out in marriage or some new venture in life, words are very powerful. And they are very similar to the gospel text today. The basic message is that life is about choices. Life is about choices. Jesus stressed this point to his apostles time and time again. It's up to you, and the decisions you make will decide how powerful a message you have in the kingdom of God. Only mankind has the ability to make choices. The ducks and geese don't gather in October in Canada and have some kind of meeting and decide if the economy is strong enough to fly south for the winter. They fly south. They don't quibble over whether Donald in the back there is too old to make the trip. They just go. They don't have a choice. It's built into their system. Beavers don't sit down and get an architect and ask them how to design a dam. They just do it. Fishes swim in schools. They don't say, I'm going out on my own. They swim together. They're people, they're creatures of habit. But we are people. We make choices. And stressing choices is what Seuss did throughout all his books. And it certainly was the message that Jesus gave his apostles and us. The problem is that we have a tendency to make bad choices. And then we blame God for all the things that happen. We as people, as individuals, we as a community, we as a nation, we as a world continually make bad choices. And that causes us most of our problems. There was a segment of Seinfeld, those of you who followed Seinfeld, where the fellow, George Costanza, I think it is the one that comes to Seinfeld and he says, you know, there's something wrong with the choices I make. I have this innate feeling of how to respond to something, and so when I choose to follow my instincts, it always is wrong. I always make the wrong choice. And so Seinfeld says, well, that's easy to cure. Whatever you think, whatever is your first response, just do the opposite, and it'll be good. And he tries it out, and it works. That's kind of a sad commentary on life, but Seinfeld was not known for its philosophy. A person came into the bakery, and they said, what would you like? The person said, I'd like a chocolate-covered donut with a filling. I'd like a jelly donut and a cheese Danish. But what I'll take is an oat bran muffin. There's a story about archaeologists examining the ruins of Pompeii. Pompeii was covered by Mount Vesuvius when it exploded, destroyed a whole community. The scientists, the archaeologists, geologists study, and they make suppositions about what happened. And there was one incident that they recalled in a book where they were examining Pompeii. They said there is an odd situation. There is a woman who is walking toward the exit to get away from the volcano and the lava. But what is strange is the face and head is turned toward the coming disaster. After some more explorations, they found a very, very valuable pearl necklace just a few feet away from this woman. The supposition was this: could it be that this was something of value to her, and in her attempt to run, she realized that she lost it and turned back? Or did she just see it, somebody else had dropped it, and felt that this was some kind of valuable thing she needed to go and pick up before she got out of harm's way? Whatever it was, it made her look back. It was a wrong decision. Wrong decisions keep destroying us all the time. This bit that I read from Seuss talks about going down wrong streets. You've got a head full of brains and shoes full of feet. And you're too smart to go down a no-good street. That was the message of Jesus, too. You got to keep on top of things. There are all going to be all kinds of temptations, and there's going to be persecutions. Try not to go down that street. But I'd like to bring up just 3 streets that Jesus told us not to go down. That don't go down the street that's filled with people who can kill your soul. He was worrying about bodily persecution. But he said, you know what? Don't really fear those people that can kill your body alone. But stay away from those people who can kill the soul, who tell you that life doesn't have any meaning, that you have no purpose, that you are insignificant, that religion is some kind of opiate. There are many, many people who can destroy your spirit and soul. Stay away from them. Don't go down that street. And in our gospel text today, he said, the problem is that some of them might be immediate family. There might be some people that are real close. There might be some that are trusted friends. But they have a tendency to break your spirit and kill your soul. Don't go down that no good street. The second street that Jesus told us not to go down was the street of procrastination. Much of the time we don't accomplish a purpose because we just procrastinate and don't get to it. In our text today, Jesus says, take up your cross and follow me now. Get active. Time is of the essence. There is a section from All the Places You'll Go that I would just like to read basically for you. It is, Seuss says, oh, you'll get so confused that you'll start in to race down a long little road with breaknecking pace and grind on for miles across weirdish wild space, headed, I fear, for the most useless place. It's called the waiting place. Seuss says this is the worst place in the world, where we just stand around and say, if this happens, then I'll do this. And he said this is a hopeless pace, a no good street. For people just waiting for a train to go, a bus to come, or a plane to go, or the mail to come, or the rain to go, the phone to ring, the snow to snow, or waiting around for a yes or no, or waiting for their hair to grow. Everyone is just waiting. Waiting for the fish to bite, or waiting for the wind to fly a kite, or waiting around for a Friday night, or waiting perhaps for their Uncle Jake, or a pot to boil, or a better break, a string of pearls, or a pair of pants, or a wig with curls, or another chance. Everyone is just waiting. No, that's not for you. And that's what Jesus said too. Unless you put your hand to the plow and follow me, you'll never make it. Take care and take up your cross. The third street that Jesus told us not to go down was the street of indifference. In other words, he said, don't be afraid to lose yourself. He says, if you try to find yourself, it won't be of any value. You got to lose your life in a purpose, in something constructive, in following me. The problem is that people are afraid to lose life, but it is the only way to find something significant. The psychologist William Glasser, who wrote about 30 years ago, I believe it was, 34 years ago, talked about positive addiction. He said that we needed addictions, but we always think of addictions as negative things, of something we can't control that's destroying us. And he says what we need is positive addictions, things that become so much of a part of that it makes us get up in the morning and afraid to go to bed at night because we just want to accomplish more or follow something more succinctly. That's the story of Olympic champions. They develop positive addiction. I have to do this. Becomes such a part of them that they can't do without it. But it's always positive, making them go a little further, dig a little deeper, show a little more compassion, get a little more active with people, help a little more. The worst thing, Jesus said, than procrastination is indifference. Don't care. Nothing's important. The message to the apostles was very positive. But he said there are 3 streets you don't want to go down. The street of people who will kill your soul, the street of procrastination, the street of indifference. So I say with Sooth and with Jesus, today is your day. Oh, the places you can go. You're off and away. You have brains in your head and feet in your shoes. And you can steer yourself any direction you choose. Oh, the places you can go. Amen.